Hello, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. Um, for those of you that are tuning in live, I apologize for being late this morning. I was busy kind of getting everything all organized um, for a bunch of stuff that's going on, and I completely lost track of time. And there it is. So it kind of goes in with the tie-in for what I attuned and kind of listened into is like, what does it mean to, be held accountable? And to be held accountable means, to show up when people expect you to show up, to keep your word, to when you plan to do something, whether it's internally or externally, it's ideally as how are you going into that? How are you leaning into that? So it's a little hot here. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so when it comes to that idea, that concept, a big piece is allowing the energetic side to kind of line up with where your mind wants you to go. And a big part, I think some people represent it as maybe like lack of motivation or a lot of motivation or willpower, and a lot of these concepts, I guess, have a lot of. I feel like the concepts are there for a reason. Yet at the same time, it's kind of interesting how they the concepts are so heavy and filled with such heavy energetic vibration that it's no wonder that a lot of people fall off that proverbial bandwagon. And so I kind of wanted to hop on here and I wanted to express on an energetic level, your energy needs to match where your mind is wanting you to go. And if they are mismatched, meaning your energetic field, your energy in general, so like your physical energy as well as your energetic fields are depleted, are exhausted, are in healing mode. I mean, there's a whole host of things that can be happening on that level that will. It's not with purpose that it's going to sabotage, but it's preventing you from getting worse, or it's preventing you from losing more energy, or it's there is a purpose why. And what's interesting is that as a human, going along that journey, it's very, very common, especially when we're not attuned or we're not tuning into that inner space. It's very common for that mind to kind of override the one concept or the one I guess just override those needs, and it kind of will force, or it'll put pressure on you, or a ton of heavy expectations that can, again, sometimes the beautiful people in our world, they're ultimately trying to work with us, they're trying to work for us, but they can be putting the pressure on that isn't exactly what you need or want, and or it's that outside perspective of, in order to succeed or in order to do something right, it needs to be done in such a way. And I'm here just to kind of, one, bring up that there is a different way to approach these kind of issues within our life, and we'll probably go into that in several different series here. But two, what's maybe even more important is, you know anything, or a huge piece when another person's perspective, or when a past pattern or a past behavior hasn't worked in the past, um, and it's been repeated, because again, there is this kind of perpetual inner mind where if it's not getting into the creative, if it's not getting into the intuitive, it has a really hard time trying to think up or even make up new solutions. That's where creativity, that's where our intuitive mind, it shines, it's in its glory, is when you come into a problem, and instead of looking at it as a problem, you look at it as a challenge. And these are different word shifts and how we use the words, but they're also powerful. Like, to be able to look at something and say, okay, don't know what the solution is for that, but I'm going to look forward to tapping into my intuitive, and seeing what comes forward. And the more open you are, the more in the free flow you are, the more that intuitive kicks in, and the more it starts to kind of come up with truly, I mean, even in my own life, in my own story, some of the most random experiences, random actions that it was telling me to take. And when I listened to that, it was incredible where it allowed me to go, and how it started me on the actual path that I was trying to get to at the beginning. So it kind of began to continue that process, and led me on the path I was wanting to go in the beginning, instead of the path that I was on that is like kind of meandering, which is not always a bad thing, but meandering. And ultimately, it was it was linking me up with scenarios and situations that were actually felt like they were pulling me backwards. Does that make sense? So so what I want to kind of communicate as well is, when you set an intention, it's valuable. It's crucial, in my personal opinion, to make sure that you have the energy and the emotional energy to hold the space for whatever challenge you're undertaking. So if you're going through self growth, if you're choosing to go into a course, you're choosing to take on something at work, you're choosing to work on your relationships in any of the ways. So within the family dynamics, within a lover's partnership, within even within the partnership with ourselves. So that can, again, lots and lots, but these are just some quick examples. You're wanting to create a little bit of a morning routine. You're wanting to create some life rituals. You're wanting to work on some dietary, like enhancing what goes into your body so that your body can function at its optimal level. So these are all avenues that we will take on many many times within a lifetime. And the more you're able to kind of develop a little bit more of a, I call it a gentle approach, but it's actually a much more direct approach. It's an approach where you are syncing your mental and you're syncing your emotional. And simultaneously, when that emotional is synced to the mental, it also connects you to your intuitive. It's like a direct download. And when that intuitive begins to kind of paint the theme for the whole experience, it tends to, and it's not always a clear cut because nothing is, but it tends to guide you along the way where there's much more dramatic results and much more forward, even though they're little baby steps. And that's a really big piece, is the intuitive will never just give you big things to do. It'll always give you little baby steps. And that's because that it knows, we know ourselves, it knows that in order for us to make forward movement, it's a baby step at a time. It's not massive hurdles or massive jumps and leaps, because that leap will exhaust you. You'll take one leap and you'll be done. You won't be able to accomplish the race. You won't be able to accomplish the, I'm trying to be a little bit metaphoric here, but you won't be able to accomplish what you set out to accomplish. Does that make sense? I hope that's landing for people, because it's kind of a much bigger, like, bigger concept than that, but I'm trying to simplify it and make it into some really baby steps. And like I said, well, lots and lots of teachings even within this that we can dive deeper into. So, when you look at that, how does that really feel? Well, the very first thing is really tapping into your needs and wants. When you tap into your needs and wants and you begin to really understand what that is. There's a huge part of human society, especially in this day and age, that is overwhelmed. They're feeling so much that they don't even realize how numb they have begun to make themselves to not only the world, but to just life's experiences. And that has some detrimental side effects to it. And that can sound a little heavy or maybe even a little harsh, but it's got some reality to it as well. When we are in fight, flight, flee, when that nervous system is constantly kind of being bombarded by conflict and by uprising and mixed emotions, these are all things that almost siphon our energy field. So it also siphons like our actual physical energy, but it's siphoning our energetic field, and it's kind of sloughing off those really important Yeah, I want to say it's really sloughing off those important fields that are around us that help us to be able to slow information down as it comes into that field so that we can like literally and figuratively digest the information and be able to allow it to bring itself through the inner knowing through the heart space and then go up into the brain when our energetic field is being siphoned by a constant and continuous conflict of whatever reason, whatever component it is. It literally is creating gaps and holes that things just come and propel themselves at us. And if you're an energetic like myself, you'll recognize that like it will literally feel like there's this massive weight on your body. It can be in your head, it can be on your forehead, it can be on your chest, your throat, and it's just like it can hit you out of nowhere and it takes you out. And this will happen to everybody. And again, whether you recognize it or realize it, it takes you out and you don't know where it came from. And that's part of the course of action that occurs is that our like literally there's just a lot of energetic chaos and it is but chaos that's being contributed to the environment to the world that we are witnessing through our eyes have a beautiful ability to let us know kind of what's happening around us and at the very same time they make us blind to what's happening around us. Interesting, but anyway, the truth of the matter, but the pieces that and how they coincide. So, wrapping that up. So again, something to be mindful of if you're going along your day and all of a sudden it's just whoosh, you're out. You know, like all you want to do is get under the covers, watch a movie, tune the whole world out, eat food, you know, play video games. These are all I mean, and again, the substances they go from there. There is a huge variety of pieces that's out in our world to distract, to numb us, to take us away from feeling, and ultimately to hinder us and our ability to stay in alignment with what we are working or striving towards. So again, that motivation, that discipline, that whatever you want to call it, whatever words form in your mind or whatever you may feel you have challenges with, we can work on that together and we can begin to develop those because we're going to be looking at it. We're kind of like holding it there in a certain space, not making anything wrong, not making, you know, like sometimes you really need to just do some of those distraction mechanisms or those distraction tools, making sure that those distraction tools aren't hurting ourselves and aren't hurting others. However, being able to cultivate that and having like a little healing ritual that you fully give yourself permission to do and to endorse. So you endorse these healing rituals that are important at certain elements when you get to a point when you've done and used at least one or two other tools, that's when this healing ritual comes into play in it. And it can be a level of tuning out for a set dedicated amount of time. So these are all ways, and again, it's a completely different way of approaching. I think something that in our world is kind of like, you know, sorry, the very first thing that comes to my mind is just like that militant um, you know, keep your word to yourself, keep your word to others, and just do that. And it's kind of almost like drill sergeant, like, or I will yell at you, or I will. And again, this isn't a negative. This isn't again, it's APs. I'm definitely speaking to those out there that maybe have a little bit more of that energetic pull and are maybe more affected on that energetic level and are having a really hard time, you know, not necessarily that they're being yelled at, but they're yelling at themselves. That internal process is there's a lot of a lot of expectation, a lot of doing it this way. And you might have been forcing yourself to do it this way for so long, maybe your whole life, and it is not working for you. Again, reach out. We can work on that one on one as well. But this is part of the teachings and this is kind of what I want to work into or at least dip our toes into today. So let's activate those hands. Now, the very first piece, whenever it comes to wherever you happen to be, the very first piece you want to initiate is a little bit of compassion. The compassion helps to begin to disintegrate that heaviness that you have taken on, either knowingly or through culture, through belief systems, through family dynamics. So we want to bring the compassion in because it just helps to bring that little bit of self-awareness forward, as well as it also helps to bring our vibration up a little bit. Okay, so once you've activated the hands, go again, hands, and the activation is just a certain tool that really works for me. If there's something else that works best for you, please tune into that. Whatever it is, it should allow you to feel your body, and it should allow you to kind of dive in, go into that deeper space within yourself, so that you're requesting or bringing forward your emotional state, your emotional guidance, and you're bringing forward as well the ability or the request to ask the mind, the ego mind, thank you so much. I appreciate you've been doing so much for me so far today. I would love for you just to take a little bit of a back seat. I'm needing to talk to another piece of myself, or I'm needing to bring through some other wisdom. It's not always a big fan when you start trying to compare. And again, everyone's relationship with that internal mind is very unique and different. I've worked on this, and I've worked having a really beautiful, very interesting at times experience or relationship with that ego mind. So it's you know at least for myself, for my little ego mind, he is very and it is a he, like there's interesting elements of who I am, and the makeups of who I am, and I have female attributes and male attributes in very balanced ways, if I'm being honest. And so this part of myself, like he gets a little bit overwhelmed, and he doesn't like to be shunned or told that he's not the main priority. So it's just like a gentle like conversation that occurs, and I just like say thank you so much, I appreciate you. And then I tune myself into my heart space. I give him the option of like witnessing and being a part of it if he so chooses. And anyway, so this is diving into my own world a little bit, but it's sometimes I think interesting for people that maybe this is a whole new world or a whole new experience for you. When someone starts to talk in such a way, hopefully it lands in a way that creates a little bit of curiosity. Judgment can be there too, and that's cool, but curiosity is kind of ideally what I'm leaning into. Okay, so once you've kind of attuned yourself to that emotional state, I am just going to present and bring forward some ideas. So I want you to start to take some nice, full, deep breaths. And again, your breathing can be in and out through the nose. It can be in through the nose and out through the mouth. So as you continue to breathe deeply, I'm going to encourage you just to think of your very favorite person. It can be someone that is here with us in this 3D world, or it can be someone that's passed on to another realm, to another space and time. I just want you to bring that person forward into your mind's eye. I want you to see them in their glory. I want you to feel the feelings you have for them at any time within your lifespan. Or maybe it's just a time right now that's currently occurring right now in this timeline. And I want you to infuse that feeling of love that you have for them. Infuse their image in your mind's eye and just begin to bring forward and allow this feeling to kind of wash over you. If it starts to bring a little bit of sadness or any of those kind of sticky feelings, I encourage you just to allow those to kind of ripple off the experience. Our goal here is to really dive into the love, not into the extra pieces, but just diving into that love space, that ultimate unwavering love that you have for them or that you had for them. And again, it can be someone that you have had encounters with in your past. It can be someone that is in your future or in your present and then hence future. It can also be, a rare occurrence that you have encountered, that you have occurred over your lifetime as well. Really, truly, this is just allowing us to tap into that universal love force. As you bring them into that mind's eye, as you continue to hold the space for that exchange in emotional energy, I want you to feel and witness what it would be like if the roles were reversed and they had the exact same feeling for you and you were actually in their physical form or in their form looking at yourself and looking through their eyes, through their perspective on your divine, incredible, beautiful self and what they see in you, why they love you so much. I want you to feel that coming, and again, you're experiencing it from both sides. You're experiencing yours towards them, and then you're also on their side experiencing this respect, this love towards you. Once you begin to feel that exchange, I want you, again, if this feels right for you, I want you to invite that person's love, unconditional love energy, just to begin to, mm, it begins to enfold itself into your own energy. So, literally, you're inviting it into your energetic force field, your energetic space, and it's just beginning to merge with your energy and their energy. And within that is all the love, the respect, the kindness that you each share for each other. When there's that universal love, that unconditional love, judgment doesn't, it should not, it cannot thrive in that environment. It kind of dissipates and all the extra pieces, all the extra stories hopefully begin to just fall to the sides. And really at its true core essence is this feeling. I want you to invite that feeling into your heart. As you invite that into your heart, I now want you to take another breath and I encourage you to expand. So, the beautiful thing about the heart is every heartbeat, every papa of that heart working on creating that blood flow throughout the body is also the opportunity for expanding. Anything that you bring into your heart has the ability to expand is one word, but it's so much bigger than that. It's like catapult itself out and away from you within each and every heartbeat. Now, there's a certain intention and there's a certain, I want to call it like a visual that occurs, but it's within the heart. I want you to kind of attune yourself to this love space. And I want you within each and every heartbeat, so within half a second to a second, I want you to just visualize it expanding out, and then it comes back in, and then it expands out even further, and then it comes back in. And I want you to do that 10, maybe 20 times, visualizing this energy, this love space, this love energy going out within each heartbeat. So as it heartbeat out and then comes back in, and then it expands and it's growing each and every time, seeing how far out and how far away it feels comfortable for you to go. Once you've done that, I want you to take another deep breath, and then we're just slowly, it's almost like a sucking in, but it's a sucking into a more, it's almost like you're creating a nucleus within this love connection, and you're expanding it out, and then you're bringing it back into, not only towards your heart space, but I want it to begin to infuse itself up into the brain, up into the mind, up into, and again inviting that ego self to just be a part of the process. Sometimes there can be a little bit of disconnect there, especially if there has been time, or you may be in an active time of numbing. That mind will resist. That mind will try to sabotage this experience, and that is okay. Okay, this is not about creating any calcification between the two spaces. This is about unifying and finding the space where they're on the same page. So as you're bringing this love force, as you're bringing this expanded love, and you're bringing it into this teeny tiny nucleus, into that heart, you're just inviting it to begin to transcend, to begin to rise through the chakra levels as it begins to come towards kind of the head space. And we can represent it as the third eye, especially if the brain is having a really hard time feeling it as it comes up and into its environment, into that energetic space. If you're noticing any physical feelings, then just a gentler, or sometimes a not so like inner world shakeup, is just to simply bring your attention to the third eye space, to the forehead, or even to the crown of the head, and just feel or represent it as a gentle heat that begins to kind of float itself over those areas. Okay? So mine's making my way through my throat at the moment. I can feel it. The pituitary gland. And there it is. It's interesting as it lands. If it's landing for you, it's okay. If it's not, you make it your own experience. But when it lands, it kind of actively just kind of, I mean, you can start to actively change within the physical, but it can actively start to change a little bit how you're feeling, or how you're bringing in the world at this level. The goal is to hopefully that it's slowing the level down a little bit. It's not quite so coming in so fast and so hard. So as you begin to feel again, you can stay more on the exterior and feel just a gentle warmth. Or if you're choosing to go into the internal and you're just encouraging that ego mind to be a part of this process, it'll start to cultivate what it feels comfortable with. So respect that, and kind of lean into whatever experience it needs to be for you in this moment. The goal is just transfusing that love, that connection into the elements of self. And that self acceptance, self love can be ignited by the recognition of the love that we have for another, the love they have for us, and ultimately all that love is shared, is combined, is intensified within us at any time we need it or want it. And then it soothes. It soothes that judge that heavy. It soothes and begins to maneuver that energetic for kind of area or forward movement around you. So as you're going throughout your day, your energy is all of a sudden feeling very attacked or very drawn down. This is a beautiful meditation just to bring the love back, just to help that vibration to lift that little tiny bit. And it also begins to create an ever so subtle shift in your storyline. So if your storyline is feeling lower vibration and you're just bringing in that one person into your energy, so truly it's a gift that you're giving yourself and you're giving that person on some level of just that connected love. May be active love in this present time and moment, or like I said, it could be past love. It could be with someone that's not here, but at the same time, it's still a gift you are giving yourself and them. Encouraging you just to take your time with this one. This one, you don't need to be coming in and out. And in fact, it's really beautiful if you can start to kind of create this wonderful, it's a tool. So it's like building a tool or using a tool more and more. If you can kind of go into this love, this compassion, this exchange and sharing of love on a regular basis, you can really truly go in and out of it at ease. And if you're starting to feel that something is triggering you or some type of situation, even when you're in traffic and there is traffic and it's bringing your emotions up, this is a beautiful meditation just to bring it back to self, bring it back to self love, and just encouraging the mind to relax and to create a little bit of space there. It changes the trajectory of the mind going down a really quite and can be quite negative avenue to just shifting the tone of that story. So for today's meditation, I'm going to encourage you just to take as long as you need. You can come in and out of it at any time. Have fun with it and just be able to kind of feel whatever is coming forward for you. If there's emotions, feel the emotions. If there's a little bit of fear or doubt, it's okay. That can be a part of the process as you're beginning to maybe, again, forming a relationship with our mind is a beautiful, wondrous, lifelong experience. If it's the very first time, or maybe this is new experiences for you and for that mind, there can be and there will be resistance there. So if you're in that stage, or if maybe you felt like you've gotten through it, but you're in that stage again, that happens a lot. Just accept it. Just whatever is occurring for you in this moment is exactly where and what you need. So have fun. I'm just going to, with my heart space, say thank you.